This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 18th. It is 5:32 p.m. Then we are here to celebrate the finance meeting of October. We have with us Treasurer Sally Bennett, Trustee Julia O'Rourke, Trustee Riley Pitney, and myself, Trustee Jeremy Graham. It is again 17:31 as we get started here. Let's go with the first item of business here. There's no one here for public comment. Are there any disclosures or conflict of interest? All right. Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the September 25th minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, and that's approved. Moving on, budget 2023. So with that, and it's kind of 2024, would it be feasible? I was talking with a few of the department heads, if we could have budgets in by October 31st.
I think so.
Okay.
I've casually mentioned to Kelly and Chad, asked if they were ready, and they were like, started, so I think I could, definitely, I think they could get it done by then.
Okay. Salary schedules. Is this, do you think, under the budget, or should I wait for new business? We're not voting one way or the other. What are our thoughts?
And what, I'm sorry?
Salary schedules?
What about salary schedules, like the step pay?
Correct, the set thing. I know there was an admin meeting yesterday. My question, that was my biggest concern, is how easily are everybody gonna be able to do their budgets without this being approved? Are we looking, just in general, we don't discuss the in and out here, but are we looking at, yep, it's looking really good, we should be going to a vote, everyone's happy with it, so they can use these numbers to make their budgets?
My impression was that everyone was happy with it for police and public works. We haven't fully put together one for part-time office people. We weren't sure that really fit the dynamic. But that's still on the table.
Okay.
Well, if we budgeted, just a plug number of a 5% increase, we should be more than adequate, I would think, right? I mean, so we could just do the rough until we get that approved.
Okay, so I guess if you wanna, Sally, if you wouldn't mind putting that out, October 31st, and then if your department does not already have a step lane, what do we call it, step pay, good to go, just plan on a 5% and we can try to budget from there.
We'll tweak it from there, yeah, to what reality is.
Yes. I didn't send it out to you, Sally, I did send it back to Adam and to Frank for discussion at the admin meeting yesterday? Whatever they added.
Yesterday.
Okay. I added on that the percent increase from one year from one lane to the next. I added that on there as well, just so you could see, okay, if this is a 3% and then it's a 2% gain, now it's a 6% gain, or whatever the numbers happen to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier for people to see what they're.
To have like a chart next to the chart.
Correct, yeah. It was right underneath, so it was, from year 1, you get paid this, year 2 is this, it's a 4% increase. From year 2 to year 5, that's the next pay jump, it's this percent increase. So I did add that on there as well. I didn't get any feedback, not that I was asking for it, but just wanted to let you guys know.
Cool.
All right. As far as the budget 2023, I had 2 questions under expenses with health insurance and dispatch. We were over budget by both health insurance and dispatch.
That's police.
It was gonna be better if I can tell you what line item, so let me pull it up here.
Dispatch, was it by much?
It wasn't by much, but my question is, how did we go over period? Because we have the same amount.
What do you mean we have the same amount?
We have a set amount that we pay every year.
No, but I bet we didn't factor in maybe the cost of living increase potentially. I mean, the bill doesn't stay flat every year. There's probably a 5% cost of living. Is it just off by a little amount like that?
Well, let's see. So the health
I'm trying to
insurance.
pull up the darn.
That's all right. Health insurance is 0141451.
I don't even have the report up yet. I'm sure to find it. I had everything open. I don't know what.
And I'm assuming that now,
It's not in the
So
packet.
I would think that maybe it was an overlapping of, employees in the police department.
for health insurance?
That's what I would guess.
Okay.
The dispatch.
Wait, the health insurance was higher?
Correct. It was
Oh, yeah, that's the
150%.
new hires. That would be the new hires.
Okay, we just didn't account for it.
Well, yeah, because we wouldn't know what people would select, and I don't know, to be honest, I couldn't tell you what the new hires did select.
That's okay. And it wasn't huge, I just happened to notice it was above. The other one, it was, the dispatch one, I was really confused. The dispatch services, yeah, we're at 100.55% currently.
Yeah, it's 2 payments, so we should be done, right?
So we're done for the year?
I would think so.
I think
Isn't
that's-
dispatch 2?
Quarterly. And we just made a payment, wondering, because I knew exactly what those payments were.
So it's over by $100, basically.
Yeah, it's time, but if we're done for the year, then it's fine. But if we have another payment still, it's gonna be like 110%. That's why I was asking.
I thought it was only 2 payments a year, is it quarterly?
It could be.
It's
What did I get a handy dandy budget?
And it is October, so we should have hit the fourth quarter, so you would have just made that last payment.
All right, I always had my budget, why don't I have it? The one with all those original notes, because this one doesn't have it, right? No. There it is. It's usually spelled right out on the budget, what
Yes.
the payments are. Please, what was the number again, Jeremy, the last
For
four?
dispatch,
Yeah, last three.
43531.
Okay, yeah, it is quarterly payments of $44.92, January, April, July, and then October is $47.61, so that was the increase. So we must be on like an annual increase that hits in the October timeframe, so we paid $44.92.30 for 3 quarters, we paid $47.61 in October. It's probably a rounding error in the budget, I mean, it's,
Perfect. Well,
we're
yes,
not gonna have 2 more payments or anything like that.
nope, then we're fine. And that's the only issues I saw under the expenditures, fancy word there. Any issues in the expenditures, Julie?
No, I didn't see
Right.
anything.
And then my other question, and I'll wait till Sally gets back, I mean, we're gonna talk about it either way. We did not get the police grant for the body cameras. I knew that, and we're hoping to put in for next year. I don't remember, we put the money in the budget, so therefore we could spend it, I got that. Where are we at on that now?
Well, we're gonna be at a revenue shortfall on the budget, because we put the revenue side in and we put this expenditure side in.
And we still
so we're gonna
spent
be-
expenditures.
So we spent the 30, whatever we did on the down payment, 35 grand or something, and we won't get 35 in to offset that, so we're gonna have, unless we make it up somewhere else, I mean, we'll have a revenue shortfall from budget, for sure. It's just a matter of, can we make it up somewhere else?
Do we, a line item is easy to do for that. Do we need to do a, what's that called,
The
because?
line item on the revenue side, I thought it was just the expense side.
I'm pretty sure it was on the revenue side as well. Let me pull up the revenues.
Well, I know it's gonna be short, but I thought we only line item transfer on the expense side, because.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah. And we don't need to have a, whatever that's called when we spend more than we're supposed to, because we have it budgeted for that much anyway, for spending. Okay,
That would be my thought.
okay, I like it.
What sale are you looking for?
I think it should be the grant stuff.
I'm trying to look for the line item on that one, on the cameras.
And really, when I was looking at the grant, the update sheet, that's what made me think of it. I was like, oh, that's right.
So
Make
it
it,
looks like something was paid out of that account in an error. It looks, I had calculated that exactly as the contract, but something for $100 it said it was like the GoDaddy domain account was paid out of that line item, so I will get that resolved.
Okay,
Oh, so.
sounds good. Because the police, don't they have their own website now, or did they have their own website? They have their own domain for police, for
They
email,
do,
right?
and their email, domain is different than the other village employees. It's like Bago Police.
Somebody, yeah.
Yes, and they used to have their own website,
So that's probably, so we might need to just cancel that entirely, that GoDaddy.
but I assume, let's see. So professional fees is 530 and 911 is 531, so I'm betting it was just a typo.
Okay.
So I can change that easily, no problem.
I do have a question on the cameras though. So it looks like cameras were in line item 830, so 43,830. But it says we only spent 4,000. I thought, didn't we pay more than 4,000 so far this year? I thought we had a chunk of 30,000.
I haven't seen any billings.
Okay, so you haven't seen an invoice presented or anything?
Unless it's on the current credit card.
5144.
$30,000. That would seem,
In the current budget, how much
So-
we spent.
maybe we weren't invoiced yet or something.
What was it,
That budget. Where we're currently at, how much we spent to the date, the percent of the budget, and how much we got left.
Hello.
And so things we're looking at would be like, if it's
So,
maybe we're at 120% of our budget, what would happen? Oh, it's in.
So, yeah, I noticed,
Or, something happened, we spent our entire
So
budget.
budget wise, Sal, remember we spent, we budgeted a big
It's allowing you to just.
165 revenue.
Correct.
165
Yes.
expense here,
Yes, this is
which
70%,
for any expense side,
74% of our entire budget
165 this
that we
year.
allocated so far.
And we got nothing on the revenue side, so really it's just a shortfall on the revenue side budget that hopefully we can make up. Hi, Sally. And hopefully we can make up somewhere else, right, on the revenue side?
Here.
yes.
Okay.
And
10%.
it looks like
Maybe
the
10% here.
the cost, at least what I recorded from that meeting, was 24,364. And I have not seen any billing for that.
So I wonder what the 44024 is. It's like,
It's right here.
That could be accessories.
It's a small
Um,
amount for a dollar.
They had,
Getting, so no big deal.
like whatever it
But it's
holds
very
on their
little.
chest
Those
with,
don't happen until,
that could easily be that.
farming is like, that's actually not true, it's farming for it, but you know, point being is it's like,
These things like,
Yeah,
oh,
look
look,
at
this
it.
is for jobs, those things are transferred, a lot of people lost jobs, you guys soon, the body can just
You're
transfer. Of course, they're.
Right, that's good, right? We've had a lot more team wise than we expected.
Mm-hmm.
Things of that nature. All right.
So what was the other one was health insurance?
And yes, and that was probably because of an overlap, but it wasn't a ton amount,
That's what I believe it would be,
What do you mean an overlap?
because they've had changeover in employees, so some probably had family, others probably had single, and I think it just
And-
was impossible to plan for.
Yeah.
and with what Julie said too, with the new people coming on, again, we're not hundreds of thousands over, we're $100, so. All right. Anything else to discuss with the budget?
No, I think the revenues are looking a little bit better, and a
Yes.
few of them are still light, but.
Yeah, I noticed the sales tax is down a little more on the local side, so.
And what's the difference there again? Remind us all, and for Riley's benefit.
Well, both sales tax are local, but the 1% is only local, and the other one there was a law passed in 2018 that for the state of Illinois, and there are a couple of others too, the online purchases, when people make them and they live in Illinois, those taxes get applied to Illinois and not the state of the seller, the state of the buyer. So that changed a lot. And now I wrote a note just now before the meeting, I have to re-up my sales tax reciprocal agreement. And then I'm getting a free trial of that software that's supposed to help us view it better and organize it, because there used to be, like a reasonable list. And now that there's online sellers on there, I mean, it's just page after page. Some of them are just a few dollars, but it's everything. So it will need some, for me to view it and make sense of it, we'll need some structure.
So whatever an Illinois resident buys online and gets charged Illinois tax on, then Illinois collects it then like pro rata based on census data that, or something like that, money goes back to each municipality, and that's the sales
Well,
tax
that's
number?
not a pro rata one, that one is that, like, all of it goes to Illinois.
Right, but we get a portion of that based on something.
But it's a percentage, it's not based on our population, it's just a percentage of the sale. Income tax, PPRT, what else? Excise tax, those are all like, maybe not excise. MFT is a good example of the based on our population.
So is, marijuana's based on their population too, isn't it?
Yes. And that's, yeah, the way that it's collected, it's like 10% of whatever part of the transaction, but then it's distributed out based on our population.
All right. Anything else involving budget? Moving on, the aging hydrant and water leniency. I didn't see anything of concern in that, everything looked good.
Kelly said she did it at a different time of the month, so it looked a little different, but she thought it still looked good. I did wanna mention, I mentioned it to Julie earlier, just today I got a check for another liquor license
Forward.
for Family Dollar.
Yes, okay.
So, that was just worth mentioning for the budget. That when someone comes in new, they pay a $5,000 application fee, and then that particular license that they selected is for packaged beer and wine, and it's $1,000 a year. So even though it's, the liquor license year is from May 1st to April 30th, and even though it's in the middle of the year, they have to pay the full price, so. That's a good 5,000 bump, which is offset by legal fees on our side. But then another $1,000 a year, so that's pretty good.
Perfect. All right, moving on to software upgrades. The transition from the postcard bill is officially complete, is that correct? You guys have probably gotten fancy brand new bills.
Actually, I did not get any bill, a postcard or a paper bill.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
I didn't get anything this last month.
Yeah,
You didn't either?
I didn't even realize it till the day, and I was like, I should probably put my account number in.
I didn't realize it till I saw the debit in my bank account, because I'm still on auto debit, and I'm like, oh, I usually write it in my book when I get the bill, and so I went through my mail, and I never got anything. I was gonna email Kelly and say, hey, but just an FYI, it's not a big deal, but now it's becoming a big deal if you didn't
If
get
you
one.
go onto the municipal site, you can look at it now.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
on there.
I have not done that yet, because I need to figure out when I shut off the old way, how long is it gonna take for the new way, and what do I do in the interim? Bring in a check? You know what I mean, banks always take a while to turn this one off, you don't know when it's gonna go off, and then how do you
It
turn it
took
on?
no time at all for me. I signed up for the new one.
Did you have an
Do-
auto debit on
Yeah.
your First National?
I think it's
yes.
immediate.
Yeah, so
Or-
because I signed up for the new one, and then I said, hey guys, can you make sure that, like, I'm turned off on the old one, and then I'm done. And I
You
never
said,
got double.
let me turn it off, they turned it off, or the bank turned it off?
The village did.
What were you before? Were you an ACH?
The thing where you pay online, yes.
See, and you guys just pull it out of my account.
Well, it's the same thing. I mean,
Well,
they
does
say
the bank
technically-
do it or do we do it?
Back if I know, didn't they set it up so long ago?
I'm sure they'll let you know, but I'm sure the village does, because they pulled it out of mine, so to me, it looks the same as a client. But I said, hey, I'm gonna set up the new way, can you just cancel it? Done. And I never had double billed, I never missed a payment, it was very clean.
So how do you pay, Riley? Do you use credit card or anything?
I use my bank account, but,
But you should still be receiving a bill?
I mean, I think so, I mean, I don't really mind anyways, but if I do it, I just, I just put my, go through the site. But as soon as I put my account number in, it shows me my bill anyways, so.
You know how banks tell have their e-bill platform, can I do it that way too, or is that,
Yes, but
is it a
If
check?
you-
That's probably a check, isn't it? I bet you it is.
what we're going to wanna do is encourage people to use our platforms because those payments get automatically put in without the data entry from our people.
Yeah.
So if it's First National's bill pay, we get emails of those payments and then someone has to plug those in. So part of the idea is to
That dollar.
reduce that as much as possible.
So going to that website and setting it up for auto debit, basically.
But right now, there's no button for an e-check. And I'm not sure why. I've been waiting for a call back. I probably should have called them again today. So right now, when you go onto that site, the only options you have are credit card or debit card. And I'm like, so what will we do if we can't set up the e-check? And I talked to Kelly, and the ACH packet that we provide, it's kind of like the opposite of when your paycheck is just automatically put into your account. Our bank goes out and retrieves that money from their account in a packet. And those do automatically go into the appropriate accounts. So that would be as good as
Okay, so it's a second
setting
option.
it up.
then the-
So, but I am gonna try to get that, because I thought we were promised e-checks.
How does e-check differ from ACH? Do you have any idea?
Well, an e-check would be directly dealing with the merchant service. An ACH, someone has to bring in like a voided check and we set it up on screen here, and then we have to pull the money instead of the money
Automatic.
automatically being put in, so that's,
Which carries over to the next part, the credit card fees. Did we find out if we can set we'll always just charge 3%, or if we can just toggle it and make it all?
I have not found out how it works, what I think based on just talking to some people that have businesses, I don't think that the merchant provider will just charge the people the fees. I think we have to do that from our system. And so I was wrong when I said that we couldn't just make it like a straight 3% or whatever, because I think we can. I have to get the right person at Encode to talk to about it, just to see the process. So, they seem to be a lot more responsive lately. I worked with them. Kelly was gone last week and I was in the office all week, and the person was ready to go with that bill. And we were able to get that done. I was on the phone for like an hour and a half. But I think we should be able to get to the bottom of this before the first of the year for sure.
So in theory, did a paper bill go out to everybody, a folded paper bill?
Correct.
Mhm.
And it's
And
all,
you didn't get it and I didn't get it.
it's super fancy, it's all printed, because that was my question, it's printed in color. It's very pretty. My question is how much it costs paper or color compared to black and white, if it's worth it. But it's, I mean, it's covered orange and.
The postage is about $200 per month more so far. And that's what we're hoping to do is, oh, we got the bill, but now we want people to opt out of receiving it.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, it's bizarre to me why I didn't get it then. I was thinking that it was another postcard issue, because I've gotten multiple postcards before, like 2 or 3 of them stuck together. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll go drive to this house and put it in a mailbox, which is what I did. Yeah, this is
I have that
frustrating.
handy.
It's So did you get a paper bill at home, or did you already opt out for it?
No,
Oh, you did get one.
I got a paper bill. That's how I knew that what it looked like. And it was real pretty.
Maybe I'll check with my neighbors, see if they got one.
I don't know where I put my printed out bill. I can show you after the meeting.
No worries.
It is really pretty though.
Alright, so we're basically where we were before. And I'll go over.
Except we have a paper bill now.
Yes, which is good, because legally we had to have it, so now we're moving in the right direction. And I'll discuss the credit card fees a little more later on, but anything else from letter C? Alright, bank reconciliation, you said you didn't have a chance to complete because Kelly was gone, all that great stuff, so we'll get October and November next month, is the plan? I'm sorry, September, October. Yep, we're gonna be in November, that's what I meant.
I think I might know the problem. I couldn't find, some money in O&M, but, I'll just send it to everyone outside of the meeting. And then
Well,
keep
you're,
it perpetuated on the board.
sure, and you're doing a phenomenal job, right? I mean, you remember last year where we're months and months
I was
behind.
consistently 3 months behind
Yes,
last
and
time.
now this is the first, I want to say the first time that you weren't able because you were doing other stuff, but you're doing a great job, so just keep it up, we're doing fine.
Thank you.
Credit card review. Everything looked fine on there. Did very few people use the credit card? Because it felt like it was just on like 2 people.
So there were 2. This one is, the new card, and then the old card. So we were like, why did Chad use the old card? And it come to find out, when the card transfer happened was that interim when Chad had left to work somewhere else. And so he was never issued the new card, and he didn't know new cards were issued, and Kelly didn't realize that he didn't get a card issued, so there's one on order for him.
Okay.
And that's why this one has 1 charge, and we only have that open to use the rewards points.
Oh, do you want to
Generate more rewards then?
Yeah, hey, just want a couple more reward points, I love it. Okay.
But some of the items on this one that stand out are some of the costs for advertising for the village administrator. So that is probably the only significant difference from this and any other month.
Anything else with the credit cards? All right, grant updates. We discussed earlier today that in this meeting, but now that the police cameras, we did not get that grant. They're opening it again for next year, so we're going to apply again. The question that I had, you were in the back looking for the dispatch. Because we've already planned for it on the outgoing, we don't need to do anything with it. And we are just gonna have a deficit of income, of revenue.
Right. It's a wash, but yes.
Well, it's not necessarily a wash, because we're gonna spend 40,000, but we're not gonna get 40,000 in revenue.
Right, so yes.
Okay.
I see what you're saying, for sure.
Okay.
I think one of the saviors this year has been the high bank interest that we've received.
I did see that, we were like 188% or something like that, it was exciting, it makes you like, maybe we don't spend money, what if we just spend a year with bare minimum, get us more interest?
And I did talk to our banker about what we should do for next year. And she sent me a good response, and you know, I should probably go get that and tell you what it is, but, yeah, things are gonna be different next year, and they're already planning with our contract to change it up so that we receive less.
Well, that, seriously, going into T-bills and getting 5.5% could make sense for us. So I'm doing
Absolutely.
that for municipalities now. Lock it in 5.5% for a year, because banks are starting to take rates down now already, I'm seeing, and that's
Mhm.
baloney, because you can get treasury bill is is really risk-free.
I would love your expertise in that department. Of what that looks like for us. Could we initiate something in 2024?
Yeah, we can talk about dollar amounts and what could make sense.
Mhm.
Because, yeah, they're short-term around about 5.5% now, and we're talking a 6-month treasury bill, 3-month or 5.40. What are we getting interest rate wise?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
That's okay, well, the Illinois funds is gotta be keeping pace with that. I think Illinois funds is usually a good rate, so
Mhm.
depending on how much it is.
Yeah, and I think you and I kind of threw that around
Yeah.
about a year
years
ago.
Yeah.
And they look to be pretty consistent,
They're
but
competitive.
if we ever get this O&M thing going with the water bill, the difference will be that those credit card or possibly e-check payments will be going to our local bank instead of the downstate. So, we may want to do something there, because I don't think that I have the capacity to add money to the downstate funds anymore. I used to be able to move money both directions, and they changed the way that they work. And with our e-pay system, because that's from the state of Illinois, they put that money into the downstate funds, but this new system is outside of the state, so it would just go into our local funds. And so we may have, it'll just be the opposite, more money would be locally than
But the
there.
Illinois funds are paying the better rate, aren't they?
I think so.
I gotta think they are.
I think it's pretty close right now, but it's more consistently better.
So you're saying you can't easily transfer money from the state funds to our own bank?
Oh, I absolutely can take money out, I just can't put money in. ePay will put it in, but they changed all that, I don't know, like 10 years ago. It used to just be kind of like, it worked like a regular bank account, and it was a US bank thing, and I could just go in there and operate like any other bank account remotely, but they made it more like a mutual fund. And I'm not allowed to put anything in it.
It's weird. Doesn't make sense, but anyway, yeah, maybe we can look at that.
All right, anything else regarding grant updates? Skipping tax levy really quick, going to air and water, there was no air and water that I saw, it's okay, perfect.
Any feedback from last month's guy or girl, I can't remember who we credited, somebody a big chunk.
I don't think I've ever once ever heard any feedback from an air and water. I'm not saying we should get a thank you or anything, but there's never been a, whoa, actually, I need more. They're just, all right, moving to the tax levy then.
I didn't have anything prepared for that. My thoughts were that we should take a look at it and decide if we wanna levy what we typically levy. The county provides us with a formula that because we're a PTEL group and, I'm gonna have to brush up on all the terminology, but basically we have a limited rate on what we can levy without having either a referendum or even a public hearing. And so they give us kind of this number that's like the highest we can go without doing either one of those things. And that's just the status quo that we've been levying for several years now. But I thought, we probably should take a look at it. It's hard when we're sitting on all these grants to just keep cha-chinging things. If we can, if it makes sense for us to freeze it for a year or something, we should probably think about that.
My own personal opinion, without seeing data, is I say we continue to raise the minimum or the maximum without having a public hearing, but then we look at what that extra money will be and dedicate that to something.
Oh, I like
So if
that.
we're going to continue to do it because right now we've all these grants, we are gonna put that money into, say it's $12,000, pick a number.
Mhm.
We put that into the sidewalk funds. That is our sidewalk fund for next year. 12 grand right off the bat, plus any more, if we dedicate some to it. But that way, it's guaranteeing the public, yes, we're gonna continue to raise, but there is a purpose.
Mhm.
But again, it could be $700,000 that we gain. That's a little too much, right? I don't know what the number is in front of us.
It's not that much.
And I do, from what I've been talking to everyone else, the budgets are gonna be much higher this year with inflation and everything else going on.
And the other thing that we're facing is we're actually hiring someone with a higher salary that is new. So, maybe we shouldn't kick that money aside just yet. But, ultimately, just talking to other treasurers and, other, municipal people, most municipalities have the mindset that if you don't do that minimum every year, then you're losing like a compounded
Mhm.
formula they view it as a loss. And just in casual conversations with other treasurers, some municipalities, they do this thing where they go ahead and they increase the tax to the maximum and then they abate it. And it's something that I'm not familiar with the process, but I would be interested to know what that's like and
When you
what
say
that looks
abate
like.
it, like, don't charge it, or what? So they come back and say, oh, never mind, we were kidding, we don't want the max.
But it increases the base.
It increases the potential to 2. So I was like, hey, we could charge you 28%, but we're only gonna charge you 24. Because we don't need it. But we have the ability to charge you 28 if needed.
For Riley's benefit. Riley, I'm gonna use you.
Yeah.
So we're talking property tax, right? And so if
Yes.
we say, no, we don't want the 5% increase, which is our max, just for, if that's what it is, then everybody's property tax bill goes down? Or does somebody else get that money?
And see, this is very complicated because regardless of what we levy, if we get a bunch of new development, which we don't necessarily have control of, it'll still go up. Because it's a percentage of the EAV, and our EAV would increase outside of our control. So there have been years when Paul Elson was here, he did like a freeze, and then we still received more money because of the EAV increase.
But to answer my question, so if we say, no, we're only gonna take 4%, my tax bill, and all else being equal, only goes up 4% next year instead of 5, which could have, because of our max levy, is that the simplistic way to?
That's how I
I think so, and like 4% for us isn't, I wish it wasn't so complicated, but there are a lot of weighted formulas and every year I get to this point and then I just figure it out real quick and get it done, and I would like to better understand all the process, but like everyone got those notifications that things were going up like 11%,
Mm-hmm.
but that's 11% of the value, not 11% cash on your bill.
Mhm.
So I don't wanna just say yes to that.
Yeah, because it's part of it is the EAV, because that's gonna make your bill go up too.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're gonna get in a challenging season coming up because of house values are starting to go down and people are walking away from deals for the first time in a long time. At least that's what we're seeing. So, 8% mortgage rates starting to feel the pinch on housing market.
We're doing a refi right now, and that just makes me
A
sick.
refi in this environment, because you have to, or?
Well, yes, because it's a rental property and, we want a mortgage on it. It currently doesn't have a mortgage, so we're just willing to suck it up and pay that rate for now.
Let's jump back over here, we'll finish this thing up and then we keep going. Are there any items of new business?
I just had a question for you, Sally, on the SRO billing. Did we get any response or any concern from the school district when we sent the SRO billing?
Nothing yet.
Did we get a check?
Nothing yet.
Okay,
Just
curious.
It's just been a little over a week.
Oh, okay. Never mind, I didn't realize it was that recent. I just wanted to follow up.
But yeah, no, as far as I know, I talked to Jeff about it because I received a check that said it was from the school district, but it was for something else, and I was telling Jeff about it. I said, oh, I thought I got that check. And he said no, but he had talked to them and he didn't think there was any concern,
Okay.
so.
Is there any need for executive session?
Can I just say that, just yesterday, late afternoon, we received notification from the health insurance group that our rates are going down.
Nice.
Shocking, but yes, we're excited. So, I just plugged the new rates into my spreadsheet, like right next to the old rates, and so if everything stays the same and everyone opts for the same insurance, but it'll also be different because we're losing a couple of officers, so I don't know, but, it looks like about 500 or 600 less per month in premiums. And
That's with keeping those other officers that are leaving in, because we'll replace them.
yes,
Another new business item is probably this, do we want to talk about this drop off of the car wash?
Oh, we can make a note that, the owner of the car wash adjacent to us, is thinking about selling his property and dropped off some paperwork regarding this information. Our next meeting date, I have in my calendar, is November 28th. Nice thing about that is there's plenty of time for all of these follow-ups as well as to gather all of the budget information, put it all together. I'm checking if I can figure out how to do the website here. I'm sure upcoming events maybe. Beer view calendar, here we go. I just want to make sure there's nobody else on that date still. November 28th, we are on the calendar at 5:30. Okay. 28 November 17:30. All right. Items for the board. I have, based off of all of my notes, we have 0 items currently to bring to the board.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
Unless, are we doing the thingamajig for the credit card fee?
That's part of the follow-ups. We need more information.
Okay.
And if we do, it won't be coming from committee. If it's ready to go, we can do it then.
Okay.
So I guess could we just say if if we can charge just like a straight percentage, did you want it to be 3 or 3.5%? Is that what we discussed in previous
And it
months?
seems like the average, correct?
And then maybe get rid of accepting,
American Express.
American Express?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
because
would-
I plan on contacting them and trying to get to the bottom of it, and I would like to know what we wanna do.
so do we wanna go 3? We happy with 3? 3, okay, that's not coming from committee, but that way, when you put it in the resolution.
When
we'll
I'm
just-
making
we'll
the
just-
deal,
yeah.
yep.
So Sally, this seems like a lot, but there's like 7 items I have a follow-up action. Okay? In fixing dispatch.
Yep.
Okay? Emailing out for everybody, the budget is due on the 31st. Finding out about the e-check option. What option? E-check? Oh. The next one we just talked about was the credit card fee, and if we're just going flat 3%, that's fine. Talking with Mary regarding the resolution for the credit card fee, because we had talked before, and she was gonna look into that, we brought that up at the board meeting, of finding the resolution that said we were gonna absorb the fees, and now we're not going to, so we need to amend that.
Got it.
And I don't know if the $1.25 discount needs to be part of that resolution. I don't necessarily see it needing to be a resolution that we're gonna give a discount, but if it does, it's all part of the same deal.
Mm-hmm.
And this next one is not to be done before the next meeting, but it's T-bills, and that's with the 2 of you.
Oh, yeah.
The SRO billing, which will just come across your desk at one point. And the last one is the tax levy data. If we could see how much of an increase it would be, if that says that's something that can be easily done.
Yeah.
Okay, how much it would be. And
I have a spreadsheet that I plug that number in that they give me, that drop dead number, and it populates, because that number that they give me, like, there, at some point in our history, there were not resolutions, referendums designing what percentage of that number goes specifically to police and what goes into our corporate general fund. And then we have the little tiny items that are only there to keep as a placeholder in case we need them in the future. Not my design, that's a legal thing, but, so that's just another factor, is that divided up piece part. No matter how much we levy, a certain percentage of it has to go in place.
yes. So then it gives if we find out what the number is, then we can make that decision of, hey, let's go and dedicate it to this, or what we wanna do from there.
Sounds good,
Like I mentioned before, you were doing an outstanding job, so keep up the great work.
thank you.
This is an obvious thing, but it's going to be miserable real soon here with the budgets. Yeah, that one's, it's gonna be miserable real soon here with the budgets, and we're gonna get very swamped. So recommending that you try to get a lot of this knocked out before the budget comes in, just so you don't have to worry about anything else, and we can focus around that. And then as you are doing the budget, and you're putting all the numbers in, it's gonna work perfectly, it's all gonna sync up. Sending it out to us ahead of time, so if we have any questions, we can review it beforehand, so that way when we come to the meeting, we can be closer to oh, this doesn't work. All right, next meeting, let's go ahead. So at least we have a game plan.
So last year I introduced kind of
That's
a spreadsheet.
Yeah,
which was designed for the employees that are doing their budget numbers to give them an easier time with it. Is that how you would like to receive it, or would you like to receive the green paper and the white paper like previous?
I'm not gonna lie, I remember the spreadsheets, I remember, and the employees loved it, it worked out real well. I don't remember on our end, it was a year ago, how we were able to view it. Can we simply see how much we're going to have and how much?
The spreadsheet one has like a cover sheet that lists just the the totals and how they fall, like whether it's off or not. I didn't want to enter in all the
Numbers multiple
data
times.
unless that's what you wanted, but I don't mind doing it. I just thought like, well, if it's just for me, I'm not gonna do it. But
Do you guys want to try just the spreadsheet?
I'm just going through my old email to see what we did last time. I mean, I see,
I really, it was pretty smooth last year,
yeah.
I do remember that.
I use the spreadsheet.
because I was just talking to Chad about it, I said, oh yeah, well, and Sally introduced that spreadsheet last year, and,
him and Jimmy got it done, so that's why I was like, yeah, just plug it in like you did last time.
Yeah, here it is right here. 2023 budget all on a spreadsheet.
can you forward that to me and to Riley?
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm sure I have it or had it at one point, but it was a
I'm
year
just trying
ago.
to open it. It says budget docs and all it is an Excel file, which I unfortunately said open and it's thinking about opening it. Accessing printer.
You done broke it.
Why is it accessing printer? Okay, let me open it. I just, I honestly send this to you guys.
So we'll shoot with just the spreadsheet, and if it turns out that it doesn't work, we'll go the other way, but if it saves you time, we still get the same point across.
Yeah, this is really easy.
Okay.
Yeah, I will send this off to you guys so you can get a,
And then that way you only have to put it in the fancy form once, maybe twice.
Yeah, and then when I get it from the employees, I can just copy and paste it in.
Look at you being efficient, I love it. All right, is there anything else we'd like to discuss? All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I will make that motion.
I will second.
All in favor? Aye. And that is it. It is 18:24.
All right, so you'll see the spreadsheet at the top of your email.